Welcome. Today, we're diving into one of the most pressing issues facing our planet, climate change. But what exactly does this term mean? Climate change refers to significant, long-term changes in the average weather patterns on Earth. These changes can affect temperature, precipitation, and even the frequency of extreme weather events. Over the past century, scientists have observed that our planet is warming at an unprecedented rate, and much of this is linked to human activities. In this video, we'll explore what climate change is, why it matters, and how it impacts our daily lives. Let's start by understanding the basics. To understand climate change, it's important to first know what climate means. Climate is different from weather. While weather describes the conditions outside on any given day, climate refers to the average weather in a particular region over a long period, usually 30 years or more. For example, a rainy day is weather, but a region known for its hot, dry summers has a specific climate. By looking at climate, scientists can spot trends and patterns that help us understand how our world is changing over time. Several factors influence the climate of a region. These include the sun's energy, the composition of the atmosphere, ocean currents, and even the shape of the land. The balance between incoming energy from the sun and outgoing heat from the Earth determines our planet's climate. When this balance is disturbed, the climate can change. Natural events like volcanic eruptions or shifts in ocean currents can cause changes, but human activities are now the main driver. One of the key processes affecting Earth's climate is the greenhouse effect. This natural phenomenon keeps our planet warm enough to support life. Greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, methane, and water vapor trap heat in the atmosphere, acting like a blanket around the Earth. Without this effect, our planet would be too cold for most living things. However, when the concentration of these gases increases, more heat is trapped, leading to global warming. While the greenhouse effect is natural, human activities have greatly increased the amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Burning fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas releases large amounts of carbon dioxide. Deforestation, agriculture, and industrial processes also contribute to rising greenhouse gas levels. As a result, the Earth is warming faster than at any time in recorded history, leading to significant changes in our climate. One of the most noticeable effects of climate change is the rise in global temperatures. Over the past century, the average surface temperature of the Earth has increased by about 1.1 degrees Celsius. This might not sound like much, but even small changes in temperature can have big impacts on weather patterns, sea levels, and ecosystems. Scientists use temperature records from around the world to track these changes and predict future trends. As the planet warms, ice sheets and glaciers are melting at an accelerated rate. This adds more water to the oceans, causing sea levels to rise. Coastal communities are especially vulnerable, facing increased flooding and erosion. Melting ice also affects wildlife, such as polar bears and penguins, whose habitats are disappearing. These changes are clear signs that climate change is reshaping our world. Climate change is linked to an increase in extreme weather events. We're seeing more frequent and intense heat waves, storms, droughts, and heavy rainfall. These events can cause devastating impacts on communities, agriculture, and infrastructure. Scientists warn that as the climate continues to change, such extreme events are likely to become even more common and severe. Another consequence of climate change is ocean acidification. As carbon dioxide levels rise in the atmosphere, more of it is absorbed by the oceans. This changes the chemistry of seawater, making it more acidic. Acidic oceans can harm marine life, especially creatures with shells like corals and shellfish. Healthy oceans are vital for the planet, so this is a serious concern. Climate change is putting many plant and animal species at risk. As temperatures rise and habitats change, some species struggle to survive. Animals may migrate to cooler areas, while others face extinction if they can't adapt. Biodiversity is essential for healthy ecosystems, providing food, clean air, and water. Protecting wildlife is a key part of addressing climate change. Changing weather patterns and extreme events can disrupt food production. Droughts, floods, and heat waves can damage crops and reduce yields. This threatens food security, especially in vulnerable regions. Farmers must adapt to new conditions, and scientists are working on developing crops that can withstand climate stress. Ensuring everyone has enough to eat is a major challenge in a changing climate. Climate change can also affect human health. Heat waves can cause heat stroke and dehydration, while air pollution from wildfires and industry can lead to respiratory problems. Changes in climate can also spread diseases carried by insects, like malaria and dengue fever. Protecting public health means tackling climate change and preparing for its impacts. The economic impacts of climate change are significant. Extreme weather can damage infrastructure, disrupt supply chains, and increase costs for businesses and governments. Insurance claims rise after disasters, and rebuilding can be expensive. Investing in climate solutions now can help reduce future costs and create new opportunities for green jobs and innovation. Climate change can also lead to social and political challenges. As resources like water and food become scarce, conflicts may arise. People may be forced to leave their homes due to rising seas or extreme weather, becoming climate refugees. Governments and communities must work together to find solutions and support those most affected. You might hear the terms climate change and global warming used interchangeably, but they're not exactly the same. Global warming refers specifically to the rise in Earth's average surface temperature due to increased greenhouse gases. Climate change includes global warming, but also covers other changes like shifts in rainfall, more frequent storms, and sea level rise. Both terms are important for understanding what's happening to our planet. Scientists have gathered overwhelming evidence that climate change is real and happening now. This includes rising temperatures, shrinking ice caps, changing animal migration patterns, and more frequent extreme weather events. Satellite data, ice core samples, and long-term weather records all point to the same conclusion. Our climate is changing, and human activity is a major cause. Scientists use a variety of methods to study climate change. They analyze temperature records, study tree rings, examine ice cores, and use satellites to monitor changes from space. Computer models help predict future changes based on current trends. This scientific approach allows us to understand the causes and effects of climate change and to plan for the future. Carbon dioxide, or CO2, is the most important greenhouse gas released by human activities. It comes mainly from burning fossil fuels and deforestation. CO2 stays in the atmosphere for a long time, trapping heat and warming the planet. Reducing CO2 emissions is a key step in fighting climate change. While carbon dioxide gets most of the attention, other greenhouse gases like methane and nitrous oxide are also important. Methane is released by livestock, landfills, and natural gas production. It's much more effective at trapping heat than CO2, but doesn't last as long in the atmosphere. Reducing all greenhouse gases is necessary to slow climate change. Fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas are the main sources of energy for much of the world. However, burning them releases large amounts of greenhouse gases. Transitioning to cleaner energy sources, like solar and wind, is essential for reducing emissions and protecting the climate. Forests play a crucial role in absorbing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. When trees are cut down for agriculture or development, not only is this carbon storage lost, but the process often releases more CO2. Protecting and restoring forests is a powerful way to fight climate change. Switching to renewable energy sources like solar, wind, and hydropower can greatly reduce greenhouse gas emissions. These sources are clean, sustainable, and increasingly affordable. Investing in renewable energy is a key part of the global effort to slow climate change and build a sustainable future. Using energy more efficiently is another way to reduce emissions. This means designing buildings, vehicles, and appliances that use less energy to do the same job. Simple steps like insulating homes, using LED lights, and driving fuel-efficient cars can make a big difference when adopted widely. Cars, trucks, ships, and planes all burn fossil fuels and contribute to greenhouse gas emissions. Shifting to electric vehicles, improving public transportation, and encouraging walking and cycling can help reduce the carbon footprint of transportation. Waste management is another important part of the climate puzzle. Landfills produce methane, a potent greenhouse gas. Recycling, composting, and reducing waste can lower emissions and conserve resources. Every small action adds up to make a difference. Agriculture both affects and is affected by climate change. Farming releases greenhouse gases through livestock, fertilizers, and land use. At the same time, changing weather patterns can make farming more difficult. Sustainable practices like crop rotation, reduced tillage, and organic farming can help. Cities are home to more than half the world's population and are major sources of greenhouse gas emissions. Urban areas can lead the way in climate solutions by investing in public transport, green spaces, and energy-efficient buildings. Smart city planning can make urban life more sustainable and resilient. While reducing emissions is crucial, we also need to adapt to the changes already underway. Adaptation strategies include building flood defenses, improving water management, and developing drought-resistant crops. Communities around the world are finding creative ways to cope with new climate reality. Mitigation means taking action to reduce the severity of climate change. This includes cutting greenhouse gas emissions, protecting forests, and investing in clean energy. Governments, businesses, and individuals all have a role to play in making these changes happen. Climate change is a global problem that requires international cooperation. Agreements like the Paris Agreement bring countries together to set targets for reducing emissions. Working together, nations can share technology, resources, and knowledge to tackle climate change more effectively. Everyone can help fight climate change. Simple actions like using less energy, eating less meat, recycling, and supporting clean energy make a difference. By making sustainable choices, individuals can inspire others and help build momentum for bigger changes. Raising awareness about climate change is essential. Education helps people understand the science, the risks, and the solutions. Schools, media, and community groups all play a role in spreading knowledge and encouraging action. Young people are leading the way in climate action. From organizing protests to developing new technologies, youth voices are powerful drivers of change. Their passion and creativity are inspiring others to join the movement for a healthier planet. Climate change doesn't affect everyone equally. Poor and vulnerable communities often suffer the most, even though they contribute the least to the problem. Climate justice means making sure solutions are fair and that everyone has a voice in decisions that affect their future. New technologies are helping us tackle climate change. Advances in renewable energy, electric vehicles, energy storage, and carbon capture are making it easier to reduce emissions. Continued innovation is key to building a sustainable future. Nature itself offers powerful solutions to climate change. Restoring forests, protecting wetlands, and preserving biodiversity can absorb carbon and protect communities from extreme weather. Working with nature is a win-win for people and the planet. Government policies can drive big changes. Setting emissions, targets, investing in clean energy, and supporting research are all ways that policy can help. Strong leadership and clear rules are essential for making progress on climate change. Businesses have a big role to play in addressing climate change. Many companies are setting goals to reduce emissions, use renewable energy, and create sustainable products. Corporate responsibility can drive innovation and help shift entire industries toward a greener future. Tracking progress is essential for effective climate action. Scientists and governments use data on emissions, temperature, and energy use to measure how well we're doing. Transparent reporting helps hold everyone accountable and ensures we stay on track. Despite the urgency, there are many barriers to tackling climate change. These include political disagreements, economic concerns, and misinformation. Overcoming these challenges requires cooperation, education, and a shared commitment to a better future. There are many examples of successful climate action around the world. Cities switching to renewable energy, countries planting millions of trees, and businesses developing green technologies show what's possible. These stories inspire hope and demonstrate that change is achievable. The future of our climate depends on the choices we make today. If we act quickly and boldly, we can limit warming and build a more sustainable world. Delaying action will make the impacts worse and harder to manage. The path we choose is up to all of us. Every action counts in the fight against climate change. Whether it's reducing energy use, supporting clean energy, or spreading awareness, each step helps. Together, our choices can add up to make a real difference for the planet. While climate change is a serious challenge, there is hope. Advances in science, technology, and global cooperation are making progress possible. By working together, we can protect our planet for future generations and create a brighter, healthier world. In summary, climate change is a complex but urgent issue that affects everyone on Earth. It's caused mainly by human activities and has wide-ranging impacts on our environment, health, and economy. The good news is that solutions exist, and we all have a role to play. By learning, acting, and inspiring others, we can help shape a better future for our planet.